So what's beyond the first?
I believe there's a second boundary. Just like there's a boundary, a physical wall that's around here. Like I can't go through this, but we are bound in this little interview by this space. So how do I have my agent understand its boundaries so that it can stamp out replicatable? I'm going to call them cells. Some people call them sandboxes. Some call them ephemeral environments, but I can't go through. I can't scale 1,000 agents to hit a Jira board or hit a Microsoft Office 365 instance or be able to log into a Cognito user pool that doesn't exist.
Right.
And so I think that this second boundary, it's a donut around my level of control, is the next thing around the corner that I'm trying to solve.
Okay.
So what that requires is you to mock everything, literally mock the entire environment. In VR world, you could create a digital twin.
Right.
In software, you need to create those mocked interfaces that mirror the real, environment. So that when the actual PR merges and it goes to the staging environment that is the real production-like activity that you need to test,
right,
it's going to succeed.
Yeah.
Because what's happening now is if you break through this first boundary, you can't test that outer boundary sufficiently without pushing it to production.
Right.
Most developers, what do? On Friday, they push to production. And, let's hope it works. But in reality, that isn't necessary because just like this first boundary is making sure that the agent can succeed successfully in these one-shot turns to get the thing done, it also knows that it's successfully done the actual process.
So let me think about it. So is it, so what I think,
so that's what I'm
thinking is projecting the dependency so that you can anticipate like a broader implementation. So you have this first boundary boundary that's a little bit more local. You're just trying to solve the task, but that's going to have cascading impact as soon as it gets into an environment where there's a dependency chain. And so if you can project that dependency chain, then you can maybe simulate what the impacts could be, mock it, and then you just increased the likelihood of success outside of your little
yes, and reduced rework.
Yeah.
And although I'm really fortunate that I could spend tokens at will,
right,
not every customer has that luxury. So they're concerned about 16 turns versus 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah.
And being able to solve the problem fully locally before you push the PR and know that it's got a tremendous likelihood of success through integration testing to get into production. And that's a better scenario.
That's a really compelling topic for me, like learning to operate within constraints, whether that's a budget constraint, like cost, or token constraint. Those can be maybe interchangeable. That you hang our paper. Mm-hmm. Like you said, sometimes at AWS we take for granted that we don't have the same constraints. Customers are going to have constraints. How do we model? And it's not just cost and budget. There's technical constraints. So that's a really interesting thing to explore. What are the constraints? How do you operate within them to still achieve the task? I think that's where we're going to see some big gains in the next year.
Absolutely. And so I'm working at agents who understand the boundaries and create the mocked environments for my agents to work within. That's cool. Right. So our team is releasing the autonomous background coding agents. Our kind of internal moniker is ABCA.
Okay.
Everybody's got to have an acronym. The autonomous background coding agents. Yeah, that's a word. I'm just going to So the whole goal of this is to become a self-fulfilling iterative process on itself.
Yeah.
Right. So the autonomous background coding agents eventually fix the autonomous background coding agents.
Yeah.
And it's just a cycle of a bunch of autonomous agents fixing themselves.
And then we all go play golf and it's
no, we continue to make it better and better.